منصور, امید, انقلاب, کیا یہ صرف الفاظ ہیں؟ کیا سیاست کا مطلب محض حکومت کا حصول ہے؟ آخر کون بنے گا عوام کی آواز؟ کون پوچھے گا عوام کے سوالات؟ اور کون کرے گا ذاتیات سے بالا تر ہو کر بات؟ نئی سوچ, نئے مقصد اور پاکستان کے مسائل کے ٹھوس حل کے ساتھ سنیے پاکستان کے مایہ ناز دانشوروں, سیاستدانوں اور انقلابی سوچ رکھنے والوں کو. پاکستان فرسٹ کے گروپ چیف علی خان کے ساتھ وطن ریڈیو کے پروگرام دی ایڈیٹرز شو میں.
میں ہوں علی خان اور آپ کو میں وطن ریڈیو کی لائیو ٹرانسمیشن میں خوش آمدید کہتا ہوں.
کافی دنوں سے ہم اسی بات پہ ڈسکشن کر رہے ہیں پچھلے 3-4 دنوں سے کہ پاکستان میں اس وقت کیا حالات چل رہے ہیں, what is going on. But today's show is going to be something I would like to keep it a little bilingual in the beginning, but then since we are discussing international issues, we will be turning completely towards English. پاکستان کے حالات اس وقت ایسے ہیں کہ ہماری قوم کو, ہمارے ملک کو بہت سی مشکلات کا سامنا ہے. ہم ذرا ہسٹری کی طرف شروع میں شو کے چلتے ہیں اور ذرا شروع میں ہم یہ دیکھیں گے کہ پاکستان جو ہے وہ دنیا کے کتنے امپورٹنٹ علاقے میں, کتنے امپورٹنٹ ایریا میں بستا ہے. اگر آپ نے ہمارا ریسرچ پیپرز لکھے ہوں تو پاکستان کے بارے میں جب ہم انٹروڈکشن دیتے ہیں تو اس میں ہم 2-3 باتیں بڑی ضروری کرتی ہیں. دیکھیے, پاکستان ہمیشہ سے جو چیز اٹھاتا آ رہا ہے وہ ہے دنیا کے پرابلمز کا بوجھ, اور سب سے بڑی بات جس میں ہم دیکھتے ہیں, جو ہم سمجھنا چاہتے ہیں, وہ یہ ہے کہ اس سے ہمیشہ پاکستان نے نقصان اٹھایا ہے اور ہم اس نقصان کو اپرچونٹی میں کیسے کنورٹ کر سکتے ہیں. قائد اعظم نے پاکستان جب بنایا تو انہوں نے پاکستان کی ایک فارن پالیسی دی. اس فارن پالیسی کو ہم بہت دفعہ ڈسکس کر چکے ہیں, بہت سے لوگوں سے ڈسکس کر چکے ہیں, لیکن کیا پاکستان واقعی میں اس فارن پالیسی کو صحیح طریقے سے امپلیمنٹ کر پایا ہے یا نہیں؟ یہ وہ سوال ہے جو ہمارے بہت سے ایکسپرٹس اس سوال کا جواب دے چکے ہیں, لیکن آج تک ہمارے شو میں جتنے بھی گیسٹس آئے انہوں نے they were not the insiders to Pakistan nuclear assets. They were not insiders of how Pakistan's nuclear strategy works. دیکھیے, پاکستان اس دنیا میں جس علاقے میں رہتا ہے, ہمارے تمام سامعین کو اس بات کا علم ہونا چاہیے کہ چاہے وہ برلن وال کا گرنا ہو اس میں پاکستان کا ایک رول گردانا جاتا ہے, چاہے وہ ریڈ آرمی کو شکست دینا ہو اس میں پاکستان کا ایک رول گردانا جاتا ہے. The point that I'm trying to come to is کہ آج جو نیٹو کا حملہ پاکستان پہ ہوا اور اس کے اوپر ہم ڈسکشنز کرتے رہے, کیا یہ پاکستان کی فورن پالیسی کو تبدیل کرنا چاہے گا؟ But to understand this, there's a lot of foreign, if you read a lot of documents, if you read a lot of papers, if you read a lot of articles from the written former experts, what you learn in about Pakistan is 2 very simple things. Number one, Pakistan is a terrorist country and it's intentionally not playing its best role which is possible for it to play in curbing this terrorism. And the second issue that we are looking at is that Pakistan is not willing to fight this war on terror because of the internal pressure that exists in Pakistan, or it is not in the national interest of Pakistan. This is the one question that raises the philosophy of Pakistan's military. What is the actual philosophy of Pakistan military? Do they actually want terrorism to be born or to grow up in this region in Southeast Asia? India has always been talking about it. Western countries have always been talking about it. But is that really so? For this very important question, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me a very important person. A person who is always an insider, a person who played very key role in Pakistan Army. He was in very key positions when he was in Army. Now he's a retired brigadier. A man who was also part of deciding Pakistan's nuclear strategy plan. And his name is Brigadier Simon Sharaf. Simon, thank you very much for joining us.
Assalamu alaikum, Ali, and first of all, you stopped off the depressing news coming out of Pakistan all the time. Let me first give some good news to the expats of Pakistan living all over the world. First of all, Assalamu alaikum to them. And secondly, this year, Punjab and Upper Sindh are producing bumper crops in cotton, sugarcane and rice. So this is some good news that comes from home to all Pakistanis who live in all corners of the world.
And you know what, Bagheera, we all wish that we could eat Shavri naan out of that crop.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much for that good news. Coming to our topic, you have been insider. I couldn't stress on it any more than that. You have also been with Pakistan Tehreek Insaf. I'll come to for the first initial part. I'll just take you as an analyst, as a writer, as a columnist for different newspapers, especially The Nation. What is actually Pakistan's military's philosophy? Do you think really Pakistan military wants to groom terrorism in Southeast Asia?
No, not at all. Which military wants to groom terrorism? We don't. We did it on behest of United States of America and CIA for their purposes, thinking that it was an Islamic jihad, which it wasn't. It was in fact a mock jihad. And then we were left high and dry to deal with all the muck created, all the backlash that came into Pakistani society, the heroin, the Kalashnikov culture, the use of violence in petty politics of Pakistan, militancy, everything. All these are the givens of the US-France policy during the Cold War. So we are not the ones who wish to breed terrorism, nor are we the ones who are breeding it. We've been led into a quagmire, we've been led into a corner, and we are trying our best to find a way out of it.
Well, then why, let me ask this very nice question. Why every American or Western analyst and your colleagues think, and the people that you have interacted with, I'll come to that later on, the think tanks, why do they presume that Pakistan wants to keep this terrorism intact and Pakistan wants to put life into, and they don't want to attack all these people who have already killed 35,000 Pakistanis?
We are taught, most of these people who've killed over 40,000 Pakistanis are enemies of Pakistan, and they get their funding from elsewhere. If Pakistani military and the Pakistan establishment was to breed terrorism, would it breed it for the purpose of killing its own soldiers and its own people, in blasting off its own convoys, its own headquarters, its own drills? Would an army with the same mind ever do that they perpetuate terrorism just to kill their own kids? It's a blatant lie.
If it's a blatant lie, then why cannot Pakistan kill the perception of Pakistan military being aiding the terrorism? Why is that perception that still exists?
You have to understand what has actually happened. The Cold War and the Afghan war during the Cold War was fought on the waves of Islam and Pashtun nationalism. And once the foreign forces have got into Afghanistan, the Pashtun nationalism is still alive. And you must also know that Pashtuns form about 35-37% of the entire Afghanistan population, and they are 30% Gujars also, who, like Pashtuns, are linked to Pakistan. The Gujar fighters, like Yunus Khalis and all these. So, to sum it up, over 65% population of Afghanistan is against the US and NATO occupation in Afghanistan, in as much as they were against the Soviet occupation during the Cold War. So it is the typical reaction which has come out, and world powers, the United States of America and others, have gone into overdrive to link it with Al-Qaeda. And that is what is creating the whole problem. Now, the second issue is that the script that was written about this war, for this war in the United States of America, probably did not have sociological inputs in it. The United States of America, when they started their second campaign in Afghanistan after 9/11, did not realize that they were fighting this war on a forgotten dimension of strategy, which is the social dimension. They were taking on an entire society. So what has ultimately happened is that the hatred has not only spread within Afghanistan, it has permeated into Pakistan, into the Pashtun areas, into the Gujar areas, and that is why we have problems in Pakistan. Because for every person who is killed by the US or the NATO violence in Afghanistan, there is not only a reaction of hatred and of ill sentiments amongst the Afghan people, some of it also overflows into Pakistan. So once again, Pakistan has been left alone to contend with the issues which are being inside Pakistan. That is the real issue. If the United States of America decides today that instead of military, politics, technology and economics, they are going to bank on the social dimension of strategy, the issue would be resolved within a short time, maybe as little as 1 year. And a graceful, proud exit for the US and NATO forces from Afghanistan will be possible. The point is they are trying to tinker with culture, they are trying to tinker with tribal traditions, they are trying to tinker with family bondages. So this is the real issue. Terrorism is not the issue.
So when, the famous military saying that when the plan hits the ground, it usually fails. When that happens, have the NATO in Afghanistan and the United States who are controlling this war failed to recognize that the situation on ground has completely changed? Let me refer to one of the articles written by Graham E. Fuller on Obama's policy making situation worse in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Graham Fuller, for our audience, is a former CIA station chief in Kabul and the author of The Future of Political Islam. Now, what he says, let me quote one of his things. He says, military force will not win the day in either Afghanistan or Pakistan. Crises have only grown worse under the U.S. Military footprint. And he writes this in May, which is some time ago. Why, from your perspective as an analyst, military analyst, and a former Pakistani officer, is American think tanks and American strategists so naive, or they do not know what they're actually planning, or they fail to recognize the real effects of the things on the ground?
Ali, I will only comment, I wish this gentleman, when he was a station chief in Afghanistan, he had aired the same sentiments in his dispatches to the CIA headquarters in Washington. Probably then the things would have been different. But I must, in the same breath, also tell you that Osama bin Laden was brought to Afghanistan on the invitation of President Rouhani, who very recently got murdered, in two C-130s that belonged to somebody. And you know which country manufactures C-130s? From Sudan. Mm-hmm. So he was planted into Afghanistan from Sudan by somebody, I don't want to name them, and he remained there, and his forces fought pushed battles against the Taliban around Kabul and around other places. So this was the type of a relationship the Taliban had with Osama bin Laden. It was very, very late that some sort of a linkage was established between the two. But even after that, the Taliban was ready to hand him over to a neutral Muslim country and wanted him to be tried in a Muslim court, with the only condition that one of the judges of the courts was to be an Afghan national, because the man was arrested on the Afghan soil. The Americans just did not accept it. So it's a very, very long story. To cut it short, this problem, we can blame United States of America hypothetically in as much as we would blame the Afghan Taliban or Pakistanis for having meddled with it. But the issue is, this entire phenomena was planted into the region by the CIA.
Okay, let's leave it over there for right now, before you get blamed as a conspiracy theorist. My one more question, and
No, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You can read John Tennant's book, his memoirs and everything.
What I said was, before you get blamed as a conspiracy theorist, I know you're not, before people start thinking that way, because, in some of Pakistani circles, it's very easy whenever somebody's trying to present facts on the ground, they get blamed as a conspiracy theorist. But anyways, from Fuller's same article, let me quote a paragraph. I would love to read it, and I would love to people to hear it as well, and then I would like your comments on this. And he says, and I quote, "Al-Qaeda threat no longer emanates from the caves of the borderlands, but from its symbolism that has long since metastasized to other activists of the Muslim world. Meanwhile, the Pashtuns will fight on for a major national voice in Afghanistan. But few Pashtuns on either side of the border will long maintain a radical and international jihadi perspective once the incitement of US presence is gone. Nobody on either side of the border really wants it. Your comments?
These are Transalian, transatlantic, nomadic, floating threat to everybody. They have no borders. They are a floating threat wherever they appear. They appear in Yemen, they appear in Sudan, they appear in Somalia, they may appear anywhere. So they have no boundaries. Now, why do these people have no boundaries? They have no boundaries because most of them were radicals who were lumped together because of the CIA operations and brought into Afghanistan. And once the first Afghan war, as we say, of the Cold War ended, these people were left homeless. Their own countries refused to get them back. And they were just abandoned in the mountains of Afghanistan. And from there, they sallied out to various parts of the world. They went to Sudan, they went to Somalia, they even came to Pakistan. I'm sure many of them went to Germany, they went to United States of America, and so many other places. And that is where they made their cells and all. And we have substantial inferences to draw that many of these cells were supported also from across the Atlantic. So it's not that it's happened overnight. But once the sentiment was invoked against the Soviet occupation, there were all the chances that the sentiment would reinvigorate itself once another foreign power puts its foot in Afghanistan. And Pakistan cannot be blamed for that. The Taliban cannot be blamed for that. Because as far as Taliban are concerned, even this writer says that they have a localized characteristic and ultimately they would morph into the greater Pashtun nationalism. Now, he's left it at that, but let me take it forward from this point onwards. Another threat that faces Pakistan because of this is all types of maps which keep coming up and the talk of a Pashtun. Therefore, as policy planners, as analysts, we also have to think, would one day, this resistance morph into a resistance of Pashtun nationalism and then challenge the Federation of Pakistan itself as a parochial force. So there are so many ifs and buts and so many inferences that can be done. But he's quite right as far as he says in his article, because I've read this article and I agree with him 100%. In fact, he's saying out the heart and mind of Pakistanis.
Well, in your interaction with multiple US think tanks, do you really believe that they have understood what Pakistan's point of view is?
I think they have a very, very narrow comprehension of Pakistan's point of view, and they have that comprehension because they want to look at it that way. Because it's on the wish list, they want to look at the comprehension of Pakistan the way they want to look at it. And what they are looking at Pakistan is that Pakistan is a military state. It is a security state. It has got nuclear weapons. It wants to have a clout in the area. It wants to have a satellite state in Afghanistan. And then it wants to ally with China and challenge India over Kashmir. So this is the entire view of the Pakistani perspective from the tainted eyes of US planners.
So what you're indirectly saying is that they have failed to understand the ground realities the way Pakistan sees them.
Because they do not consider Pakistan strong enough, resilient enough and powerful enough to challenge them. They feel that they can just trample over Pakistan. And as long as they keep feeling that,
in your point of view,
the world will never be a safer place.
Are they correct when they think that?
For the nation.
Well, you know what? Let's take a short commercial break over here, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll be just right back. Don't go anywhere. This is Watan Radio, and you're listening to Ali Khan in That It Is Show.
Whether the bygone melody comes back whether it does not. Whether a sweet breeze blows from Hijaz, whether it does not. This mendicant's life draws to its close. Whether a knower of the secret comes again, whether not.
उसूल, उम्मीद, इनकलाब, क्या ये सिर्फ अल्फाज है? क्या सियासत का मतलब महज हुकूमत का हसूल है? आखिर कौन बनेगा आवाम की आवाज? कौन पूछेगा आवाम के सवालात? और कौन करेगा जातियात से बालातर होकर बात? नई सोच, नए मकसद और पाकिस्तान के मसाइल के ठोस हल के साथ सुनिए पाकिस्तान के मायानाज दानिश्वरों, सियासतदानों और इनकलाबी सोच रखने वालों को। पाकिस्तान फर्स्ट के ग्रुप चीफ अली खान के साथ वतन रेडियो के प्रोग्राम द एडिटर्स शो में।
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Watan Radio's live transmission. Coming back to the discussion, now I'm talking to Brigadier Simon Sharaf of Pakistan Tehreek Insaf, Brigadier Saab. And the first question, before I even come to that, the first question, the very important question, you have been part of Pakistan's nuclear strategic program, and I know there's a lot of things, and there's many things that you cannot talk about, but there's one very important question that I have for you. All the concerns, and let me ask it very generally, in a very general, as an open-ended question, and you can answer as deep as you want to go. Do you really think that the world that perceived threats to from Pakistan's nuclear assets and Pakistan's nuclear strategy, of which I recently learned, Pakistan has developed the world's smartest, nuclear bomb. Do you think a world is at threat? What is Pakistan's philosophy behind having the nuclear strategy? And since you've been a part of it, do you think the world should feel unsafe because of that?
Ali, as a social scientist also, believing in the theory of images and the threat perception and everything, you only threaten somebody when you are threatened yourself, right?
That's correct.
So, the deterrence or the threat of you breaking off the deterrence and use of nuclear weapons only comes into play when there's somebody else who's challenging your existence, right?
Yes.
This is what the deterrence theory is, and this is why Birg broadly said that nuclear weapons are weapons of peace. So why Pakistan equalized with India was that we wanted to have a sustained peace in the region. We wanted to have a sustained peace. We wanted to go for socio-economic development, and we wanted to make Pakistan a very highly industrialized and a modern state for which Pakistan has all the infrastructure and manpower available. So this was the basic purpose of going nuclear. Because as unequal neighbors with India, with whom we have disputes, we've had wars in the past, we don't hate them, we love them, but then once they implement their policies, they become our enemies. We had to have a nuclear deterrent. So that is why we went nuclear. Now, we've always maintained that our nuclear capability is linked to India and it is regional in nature. And I dread when somebody talks of Pakistan using these nuclear weapons through the terrorists against them and making it a global threat. That has never been Pakistan's intention. In fact, it robs away the credibility of Pakistan's nuclear deterrence. All this is propaganda. Pakistan's nuclear weapon systems, the warheads, the delivery systems, the communication systems, everything is in a fail-safe, secure mechanism. So we don't threaten anyone.
Now, when you all say that, and playing the devil's advocate, the world which it claims is that Pakistan is a very one of the world's most dangerous places. There are Taliban and there are rightist extremists, and there's all of those bad things happening and going on in Pakistan. How much is a chance over there that somebody will come drive into Pakistan's nuclear arsenal bunker and grab a bomb and take it away and use it as a dirty bomb on some Western country?
It's impossible. if you recall, after
you know, one question, one comment that I usually get from people from the West when I tell them that, they also say it's impossible that we claim Osama bin Laden was president in Pakistan.
They have no scientific and logical retort.
Well, they never had for Osama bin Laden either.
Rhetoric.
Well, they never had that.
It's just political and strategic rhetoric against Pakistan. Just recall once the Soviet Union broke, there were so many new systems which were lying around. Ukraine, of course, had to deal with the West and everything, but there were which were loose and which were flying around. There was uranium available in the black markets of the world. Did a dirty bomb come out? Nuclear systems are fail-safe systems. And this is just one rhetoric to pressurize and make Pakistan compliant, to discredit Pakistan, to show Pakistan as a failing state, which Pakistan is not. So I do not accept this argument at all. It's just a propaganda against Pakistan.
But don't you think they have been very successful in propagating their propaganda? You know, majority of the world, except the 180 million people that live in Pakistan, believe.
You see, they are the media stars of the world. They control the entire media of the world. You know what happened recently over phone tappings in United Kingdom, and all those people. They control the media. They frame perceptions. They shape an environment. And they do all this. Pakistan is not a very unsafe country. We are living here. Our children drive to colleges, universities, to workplaces every day. Yes, we have issues, but it's not an unsafe place. They are foreigners living in Pakistan, and they're foreigners who are living here for a long time, and they're very happy here. So the type of an image, once people like us, we go abroad, or you're living in the United States of America, when people talk to you, they talk to you about a land where God knows what all is going wrong. In fact, it is not like that. To prove a point, I had my daughter call over a friend of hers who was always critical of Pakistan. She came, she finally landed in Pakistan. She was treated by the immigration officers who were ladies. She was helped through. She came, we took her to Islamabad. We took her to the handicraft markets, and all those markets are owned by Pakistani Hindus, not Muslims. On the motorway, when we were driving, we were challaned, and incidentally, the two police officers who challaned us were 6 feet tall, Sikh Pakistani gentlemen. And then she was surprised. She said, I came with the perception as if I'll be seeing dead bodies hanging upside down from trees. Pakistan is a safe country. We are living here, and we are living here by choice. I have most of my family living abroad, but I, with my children, we are still living in Pakistan, and we are enjoying our life here. It's a safe life. So all this is propaganda. Yes, there is an issue going on in Pakistan, and because of that we all have to suffer time and again the militancy and the terrorism issue going on in Pakistan. But we have a policy, we have a framework of how to control it. But the issue is that the internal actors who are trying to force their way and force their policies down our throat do not help us. In fact, they are making the problem worse.
While you were saying all of that and you mentioned about the minorities, I do not believe in, when I'm talking to a Pakistani, I'm talking to a Pakistani. But Brigadier Saab, the perception that we have in the world, so I'm going to raise this question with an apology, but still I would. You are a Christian Pakistani, and how, with what I've seen happening in Pakistan and what people have been talking about, you were in Pakistan Army, you were part of some of the most secret programs. With the recent things that have been going on, with the exception to that, which is because of the war causing it and all the illiterate people who don't know about religion or Pakistan and what it wants. How safe or how do you think that you have been blocked, or do you think that you have been compromised, or do you think people don't treat you as an equal citizen? And I'm not challenging, and I would like your honest opinion on it. People have complaints in Pakistan, and there is a lot of understanding from, I believe that there is a lot of or a little bit at least of problems, and there's unequal things that are going on. So I would like your honest opinion on it. With all that life that you have spent in Pakistan, how much do you think there is unequal, on the ground reality of treatment of people who are non-Muslims in Pakistan?
Thank you very much for asking this question. I don't think it's a very personal question. It's a national question. I think I was an orphan at the age of 5.5 years. We had to struggle our way through life. We had to rise right from the dust to wherever God blessed us and we reached, right? And much of it is attributable to the Pakistani culture and Pakistani society. So, yes, discriminations do take place. They take place with everyone. They're based on social inequality. They're based on economic inequality. So we can say in the same stride, they're also based on sectarian and religious inequalities and other things. I enjoyed my time. I was a combatant soldier. I was an infantry officer. I was a parachutist. I was a high-altitude mountaineer. I got the best of education world over, not because I could afford it, but Pakistan Army and the government of Pakistan gave me opportunities to get educated and visit all over the world and all that. So I am forever grateful. I think that Pakistan has been a cradle for me as a Christian and as a Pakistani as far as I'm concerned. And it has nurtured me, it has groomed me, and it's my time to pay it back. This is the first thing. Yes, there are social inequalities, but those inequalities are in our system. But remember, I'm very proud to say in 1940, my father was a nationalist poet. He was there at Minto Park when that famous resolution was passed. So we also have our contribution towards the creation of Pakistan. Very few people know that in the Legislative Assembly, Muslim League was short of votes by 5. So ultimately, the votes were equal between the Muslim League on one side and Unionists and Congress on the other, and both sides were equal. And there was only one vote left, that of the Speaker. And the Speaker was also Sardar Bahadur Singh. He was a Christian Speaker of the Punjab Legislative Assembly, and he put his casting vote in favor of Pakistan. So that's how Muslim League got the majority. And the day it got the majority, they were those feudal Muslims who belonged to the Unionist Party. They all joined Muslim League overnight, and that is when Jinnah's dream and vision of a Pakistan started getting distorted. First, Jinnah died. Thereafter, they got rid of Liaquat Ali, and after that, all avenues were open to them. They were the owners. They had hijacked Muslim League. And after that, Pakistan has never got back to Jinnah's vision. And the only man who has the leadership and the courage and the charisma and the vision to bring it back to Jinnah's fold right now is Imran Khan. Bhutto tried to do it. He couldn't do it. His daughter tried to do it. She could not do it. And I think the leadership mantle has now fallen to Imran Khan. So we as Christians have had a very distinguished careers in Pakistan, not only at the highest levels, but also in the field of health and education. But yes, we are socially deprived. We've been socially deprived because of the typical culture that exists in our downtrodden, bottom of the barrel society. And this is something where I see a lot of relief as far as Pakistan Tehreek Insaf is concerned, because once I joined as an ordinary member, and they very quickly elevated me to the Central Executive Committee, discussion of very serious matters as far as the country and the party's internal policy making is concerned. So within a span of 4 years, I've been elevated, not on the basis of my religious identity, but on the basis of me being a recognized Pakistani. So I think Tehreek Insaf is going to make a major change, and already in Pakistan we have huge groups of Christians, Hindus, Sikhs who have already joined Pakistan Tehreek Insaf. And there are more to come, and I hope on 25th of December we'll have so many Sikhs and Christians joining in huge numbers in Karachi. So I look at Christians in Pakistan in the bigger perspective of being Pakistanis. And I feel like there are so many others who are playing a better role than I am playing. So all of us have to get together and work for Pakistan. And once we get to that vision, materializing that vision of Jinnah, then all of us will be at our right places.
Well,
But it's a difficult struggle, and we will keep trying.
Well, I'm very sure that you have, and thank you very much for that very candid and honest answer. Since you start talking about PTI, this is the one topic that this very important show is about. Everybody in Pakistan who criticizes Imran Khan, the chairman of Pakistan Tehreek Insaf, criticizes him because he talks about so many things. And he says, I'm going to change this and I'm going to change that. But what he does not really offer is the plan. He does not tell exactly what is the plan of Pakistan Tehreek Insaf. And since you're a very important member of Pakistan Tehreek Insaf, you're a member of the Central Executive Council as well, and from the army background and your expertise, I'm pretty sure you are the one who's playing, and as I'm aware of as well, that you're playing a very important role in deciding Pakistan Tehreek Insaf's national security policy. The mic is yours. Tell me, how do you...
Thank you, Ali, for asking this very important question. Most of the criticism that comes against our chairman Imran Khan is that he's naive, he's just making promises, he's taking the emotions and aspirations of the people very high without a backup plan. Let me assure you, Ali, and all Pakistanis who are listening, we have tangible backup plans. We have a plan to give a jump start to Pakistan's economy. We have a plan to jumpstart all the failing national institutions, railways, Pakistan International Airlines, WABDA, energy sector, everything. We have those plans in place. We can expose those plans right now. If you just follow the Jalsa which Pakistan Muslim League did in Faisalabad, they copy and pasted the themes of Pakistan Tehreek Insaf. We opened Sasta Tandoors, they also came up with the Sasti Roti. So that is the reason why we are keeping up plans and everything confidential, because if we bring them into the open, other people are going to copy them, and they're not only going to copy them, they're going to start making similar claims. So whatever we have it to ourselves. We are very short-footed. We know what we will do once we get into the corridors of power. And in a way, we are already doing it. In a way, just listen to me. Mm-hmm. In a way, we are already doing it. The bumper wheat crop, which we got in Pakistan in February and March this year, despite the floods, a huge credit goes to Imran Khan Foundation in disaster relief, the wheat seed distribution program. Now, these are certain things which we are not making capital of. We are not blaring our horns in the media, because this is something between us, our brothers who are in trouble, and God himself. So, जैसे कि जब खैरात देते हो तो हारे के आगे प्रचार मत करो. अगर हमने अपना ढोल नहीं बजाया तो उसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि हमने कुछ किया नहीं. We have already brought a mini revolution in the agriculture sector without being in power. So this is the role Pakistan Tehreek Insaf can play.
Okay. Well, that's I was not too much aware about that part, but I will look into it. But still, coming back to the national security plan, the thing is, in Pakistan is a security state. It's taken as a security state. Practically, perception-wise, it is a security state. When Imran Khan comes to power, when he says, "I'm gonna go get out of this war," on the borders, people are gonna start attacking us. When we are with them, they are attacking us. When we're going to leave them, they're going to do much worse.
Okay. The first step, in case Tehreek Insaf comes to power, and it comes to power with a majority, the first thing we are going to do is, the first thing which will automatically happen is that all the militants and terrorists, they are going to become amenable to negotiations. Because we have been saying for the past 7-8 years that negotiations to violence is the only way to end violence. If you do not negotiate with them, the violence is going to increase, and it has been proved that the violence has increased in the past 7 years exponentially. So that itself Tehreek Insaf coming to power is going to immediately reduce the level of violence because people are going to look at new hopes and in new directions. That is the first thing. Second, we would like to co-opt the United States of America, all the major powers of the world, all these groups which are in Bonn Conference and everywhere. We are going to co-opt them into an engagement plan which is tangible, which is practical, which is implementable, and which is acceptable to all segments. And then, after having put such plan into place, then we are going to negotiate with various militant groups. We are going to cajole them. We are going to negotiate with them to give up violence and surrender their arms. And those who cannot be cajoled will be coerced. And those who, despite coercion, do not come into line, then we will take firm military action against them. Now, this is our roadmap as far as the ending of the cycle of violence in the region is concerned. And basically, we're going to follow the 1996 plan of Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto, which she made with the Taliban and with the Afghan people, the Northern Alliance and everyone through General Nasirullah Babar. What we're going to do is we're going to bring that plan out of the closet and try to implement it, because that was one plan which was acceptable to the Taliban. And 2 days before they were to sign it, Benazir Bhutto's government was removed by President Lagari in November 1996. So that is our roadmap as far as Afghanistan is concerned.
Well, does the military establishment remove that government? Do you think if your roadmap is similar to that roadmap? I can understand it's not the same, but it is very similar. When you say all of that, do you think military establishment is going to accept that?
They will accept it. This army has fought a war for 10 years. Remember that. We are into this conflict for nearly 10 years now. And it's a very, very long time. I think the military would accept it not because it is tired, but because this is what is in the best advantage of Pakistan. This is what is in the best advantage of the military. It's been in the field for a very long time now. And all credit goes to Pakistan Army that it has braved it, and they stood proudly. They have taken punches on the chins in the best interest of the country.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just ran out of time. Thank you very much, Brigadier Samson Simon Sharaf, for joining us, the spokesperson for Defense and Defense Production of Pakistan Tehreek Insaf. I think that was a very constructive discussion that we just had, and I am hoping pretty soon we'll be having such more discussions. Ladies and gentlemen, that was it from us tonight at the Watan Radio. This is Ali Khan, and you were listening to That It Is Show.
उसूल, उम्मीद, इनकलाब, क्या ये सिर्फ अल्फाज है? क्या सियासत का मतलब महज हुकूमत का हसूल है? आखिर कौन बनेगा आवाम की आवाज? कौन पूछेगा आवाम के सवालात? और कौन करेगा जातियात से बालातर होकर बात? नई सोच, नए मकसद और पाकिस्तान के मसाइल के ठोस हल के साथ सुनिए पाकिस्तान के मायानाज दानिश्वरों, सियासतदानों और इनकलाबी सोच रखने वालों को। पाकिस्तान फर्स्ट के ग्रुप चीफ अली खान के साथ वतन रेडियो के प्रोग्राम द एडिटर्स शो में